Good morning. This is Christmas Eve 2024. Yesterday we did the video and got the eye there. So I just tidied a few bits up, but there we go. That's the eye for now. We may go back in later and do some more work on it. This hand I've got my glove on because obviously I've had some hand cream on this morning, and also some like Voltarol to help with the arthritis. But so I've just got a nice, well, just a latex glove on just to protect the surface of the paper. So today, the next stage is we are now looking at doing, let me just lift this light up a bit more, that's better. We're now looking at doing the beak, the bill, should we say. So we're doing the beak. I'm just going to turn this other light off because we're getting a little bit of shadow. So if this light's not on, we shouldn't get the shadow. It may be a little bit darker, but it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, I think we've got that on brightest. There we go. You can still see that now very clear. Okie dokie. So from the picture, as you can see, we've done the eye. So I've got my two pictures here, which is my black and white and my colour photographs, which I use for any work that I do. So as you can see from this, we're going to be using quite a lot of blues, right down to some very dark blues and blacks here. Some nice lighter blues here, and we've got some nice bright yellows. But if you look carefully, when you're looking at colour, if you squint at your picture, you can see the outlines of shapes, basically, where we're going to be putting the colour. But if you look carefully there, you've got two different yellows. We've got a paler yellow here that's got a bit of a greeny tinge to it, and then we've got this really bright yellow here. So I've got a polychromos Naples yellow, which I'm using for this nice bright yellow. And then for the lighter bits of yellow, I'm actually using a olive olive brown 10%. Because it's sort of if you look there, it's a sort of a yellowy, a greeny yellow light colour. So I'm going to be using that. I may need to go in and find another yellow, but I think that should suffice. In fact, no, I'll have a quick look. I think the only other yellow I can think of using, if I have a look here at my, there is a video on this, so if you want to have a look at it, I've got my colour wheel there. So if I look at the yellows, this is for the polychromos. These are all polychromos colours. So if I have a look, we've got like this warmer yellow, which is the Naples yellow, but then we've got some cooler sort of yellows up here at the top. So having a look at the names of them, I think probably looking at something like the 205 or the 104. So if I just open my box of scripts, and what I'm going to do is, I think I'll use the 105. Yeah, so that's a slightly, it's a cooler yellow. It's a bit more, it's got a bit of a, so I use that with the olive brown. So you can see there we've got the two different yellows. Okay, so that isn't on the list, but that is polychromos. It's a number 105, and it's a light cadmium yellow. Okay, so if I can find an alternative colour for it, I'll let you know. If you've got other brands of pencils, obviously. The blues we've got the sky blue, which again is a polychromos, a nice sky blue. We've got I can see here on the if we look here on this bill bit there, it's a bit more, it's a bit brighter. It's a bit more like this is a luminance and it's a genuine cobalt blue. Okay. We have got some greys in there. I'm looking, so we're going to have we've got some sort of reduce the Payne's grey for around this area here. We have got some Payne's grey. And we've also got the Indothan blue and the dark indigo blue, which we will also be using for the shadowed areas, and along with the black. So I'm just going to put those colours there so they're easily accessible. Okay. So let's have a look. We're going to start. Let's have a look at starting with these lighter areas. So look, we have got them marked off. So I'll tell you what, let's put in the dark areas first, sorry. So just bear with me. So what I'm going to use is, I'm actually going to use, I've got some of the Intrandem blue first. And what I'm going to do here is, I'm actually going around this shape. I will be putting some other colours on top of this. I'm using very light pressure. Look, there's a little, if you look there, we have got there's a little light section there. This comes all the way up here. So if you wanted, you could actually start off with this doing a dark sepia, but I'm just going to put in a very light layer of this blue first. So I'm using light pressure and I'm using small circular motions. Okay. To fill this area in with light pressure. And I'm looking for all the darker areas at the minute. So make sure the edge of the beak is quite tidy. So don't forget these lines are on the back side of the work, but so just very light circular motions. And then we come up to, so I'm just going to mark this in. We've got this darker area that comes sort of, so it's really dark down here, and then it comes up and gets a bit lighter up there, okay? And then just feather that off there. This is really dark coming up here. It comes around to here, lifts up there a bit, and then that fades into a smaller, a sort of lighter area, and it comes around here, and then this is the bottom part of the beak that joins there. So that is the line. So that'll go there, and then that will be the lighter area of the beak there. Okay, and then we've got on the top here, yep, we've got a bit of a darker area there as well. So I'm just mapping in basically these shapes. So like I say, if you can't quite see them, squint at your picture. If you squint your eyes and look at it, you will probably see the shapes better. Now, I'm using light pressure because we're going to be going darker into the center of these shapes and lighter, and we will be blending them as well. So also here, this color appears, but I'm just doing it sort of, I'm doing a lined bit of this because we have got, it's sort of, when you look at a bird's beak, it's a little bit, it's got like lots of little scratchy marks on it. So if you look at that, it's just like a linear. So we're using a linear mark, but it's round and it just comes down there. So we've just now blocked in the darkest areas of this beak. It's a little bit dark under here as well, but I'm only putting a sort of line in there. That's the lighter section. It's the darker section. So let me just rub this out because there seems to be a little bit of misleading lines here. So I'm just going to turn. Oops, I'm just going to turn this piece over. And I'm going to get one of my rubbers. Okay. And I'm just going to, so I'm just going to rub this up, these lines out here a little bit, and I'm going to put them on the other side. so I can see where I'm going with them. Or if I don't need to, if I can put them in with just colour, that will help. A little puff of air, just to get rid of the dust. Okay, turn that back. There we go. Put these magnets on. I've got a magnetic board, so it makes it easier for lifting and taking off. So if you tape it down, obviously you can't keep turning it backwards and forwards. So we've got those marks in. So looking back at this bit here, it sort of comes up here, and then we've got, it sort of carries with a bit of blue here, and then as it comes here, so that comes around there, that will come down there to there. So about here, we have got a bit more of a bluey area there. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just using what I can see in front of me. So I'm obviously looking at the picture every couple of seconds, and then it comes to about there, and then I'm really lifting the pressure off there, because that will be going into a paler blue. Okay, so it's going through an ugly stage at the minute, but we're just plotting in where these areas of colour are going to be. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up the pale blue. So this is a sky blue from the polychromos, and I'm actually just going to put in some lighter blues here. There's a little bit of a light under there. Okay, so put that in there. So you can see it's a different tone blue. It's a very pale blue. Then we've got this line here, and we've got a very bit of pale blue. So, yep, that comes up there. So this is pale blue here. Okay. Again, I just rub out this line here. Where's my rubber again? Right here. So let me just do this again. 2 seconds. Sorry about this. It's just I put some extra marks in that I don't really need in. So that happens quite a bit. I have done quite a detailed line drawing on this one. I don't usually do them as detailed. So there's my lighter blue. We've got a light blue up here. Again, that's quite light. If you look at it, it's quite linear. So follow the directions of the lines as well. That's quite light down there. And then we've got this cobalt. So this is more of a cobalt blue here. So if we look at this mark coming down here, this is more cobalt blue. So if you look at it, it comes almost to the edge of the line, comes down past there, and then joins into this blue here. So again, small circular motions. So I've got that there. Okay, we've got a little bit of that here. And then we've got, I'm just going to put this sky blue just here. And again, that's sort of coming linear that way. Okay. And then we've got this Payne's grey. So up at the top here, we do have some Payne's grey, again, linear. So if you look closely at your reference photograph, just put the lines in where you think it's going to go. And then it comes out at this side. So it's starting to go around this. So it goes that direction there. And then as it comes up here, you can see it comes in that direction. So I'm following the way the lines are going. Okay. And then we've got a broader bit just here. It comes down there. It comes to there. So that, there we go. And then we do also have, that comes down there. So let me just gone a little bit too far with that colour there. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to leave that there. I'm just going to put more of this light blue just down here. Okay. So I'm just blocking colour in at the minute. So we've got some very light blues here. This is where it touches the yellow part of the beak. Some of those will be grey as well. And some of the white marks that come out, we will be taken out with the craft knife or the ceramic blade. Right, so we've got this area here that's quite white. So I'm just going to literally go over that and just fill in and leave that white area there. I'm just going to put in some light blue there. And then we've got the infrared blue that I started with. That actually does go up here like that. There we go. So I've got the shapes in there now, so I can see where I'm. So they're the basic shape. So yes, it's a very ugly stage, but we've got them blocked in. So let's now block in some of this top area here. So I'm going to be leaving some of these areas that are white. So what I'm going to do again, because the whites are very light, I don't want any lines showing through that's going to be putting me off. So with the rubber again, I'm just going to lightly. You may still see them slightly, but that's not too bad. I just don't want the lines to be seeing that much. That's all. Okay. Just push away the dust. Turn it back over so you can still see the line slightly, but not quite as predominant. So let's have a look then. So we've got the two yellows. Well, we've got the three. I've got this one as well. So where the white areas are on this beak, so right up at the top here and coming down, we've got like a light. It's not quite white. As I say, there's no true white or black. We have got different shades of it. And then we've got that little bit there. So what I'm using for that, and in the center of this nostril here for now, I'm just gonna, so I'm using the olive brown. And then also around the beginning. So I've got more pressure there, and then I'm just going to release the pressure as we come round. And then here, got this lighter area as well. So where we have what we think is a white area here, I'm just going to actually put in some of this olive brown. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with some white. And we've actually got some of it here as well, just blending into this yellow area here. So I'm just mapping in where I think these colours should go. They don't have to be perfectly in place, but you know, if we can get them roughly where they should be. And then put that there, and then this bit's missing. Is it, or is it there? No, it's there. So that should go round. That comes there. So right under there, it should come right round. So we've got a lighter area around there. And also coming down here. Okay. So at the top, at this bit here, it's this sort of we've got this sort of so I've got the light cadmium yellow. So what I'm going to do is, if I look here, circular motions, okay, and I'm sort of going to blend it or just release the pressure as we go near these wider sections, and then just above that section there, we do have a bit more of that yellow. Then as it comes round here, it gets a bit more pressure as we come round. So here it's got a lot more of the pressure. Okay. We'll release the pressure as we come up there. And then it comes back round here. Okay, to there. Now, what I can see is get this nostril in, then I can see where we're going. So with the nostril, I'm going to use my dark sepia again, and I'm actually going to line it. So if we look, so that's the central of the nostril, which is quite light. And then we've got this area that comes around here. And it comes up this way, up there, down there. I'm not going to fill this bottom bit in because it actually does disappear. So up above here, we've got so very tiny circular motions. So now I'm filling all this dark area where the nostril is. So it comes around here. It's very dark next to this light area. Okay, and it comes up round here. And then it lighten it off as it comes down towards the end because we're going to have, it looks like some browny areas there. So I'm just lifting the pressure there. So round that bit there is medium pressure, more circular motions, and then just lift the pressure off there. Okay, so we've got that section in. And then if I looked at it very carefully, it looks like it's a browny colour. So I'm going to actually use the burnt umber. And I'm just going to blend that into that darker sepia there. And over the yellow, that's going to make it a little bit browner looking. Okay. And then I'm going to actually get the black. And then I'm just going to go round, so right round this edge bit. So it's darker on the outside of that edge. And round here, so right close to the centerpiece of the nostril. And then right up here at the top, it's dark. And then it fades into that brown. So if you just let the pressure go slightly there, and then when we blend it, you will see it better. Okay, it looks more or less like one colour at the moment, but if you look very closely, you can see that there are slight differences in colour there. If you look carefully, it's dark right round the top edge of that, the inner nostril, and then this bit's brown. And as I say, it looks a bit messy at the moment, but when we put in, so if you're not sure, if you just look at this photograph here, the black and white, you can see where the darkest areas are, and then you can see where it starts to fade out into the lighter areas. So that's how you can judge your tonal values. Okay, there we go. So we've got that there. Now let me just rub out a little bit here. That's what we've got here. Put too much of the yellowy. So if I take some of that out, just at the bottom there of that nostril, we can see that it's more of a lighter area. And then just round this bit here, we've got this darker yellow, brighter yellow, should I say. And we've also got some bright yellow here. Okay, going up there. And then we've got some grey colour right up here where you've got that section of white sort of colour. And we've got a grey going around there. Okay. And the rest of that is more or less this light colour here. Now, I'm going to fill that in with the yellow and it should be white. So if I just move that out, pick up my luminance white, just fill that in there. That's right. So I'll leave that as white. Okay. And then as we come down here, I'm going to go back over this with a bit of white because it's very light there. Then this is going into the yellow. And then we've got this white section here as well. I'm just going to blend that. So I'm using medium pressure, blend that in there. Once I've got all these marked in, what I'm going to do is take the lines out at the back so that it doesn't get you confused. Right, so this part of the beak, as we're going up, which is the mouth, is quite is this warmer, the warmer yellow, but I want to put in so I'm looking, so I want to put in, I'm using the Van Dyke brown. You look, we've got a very so this mark here is quite a darker section just here. You look, we've got a line that comes around, comes down there and joins up there, joins up, and then same here. So if we mark those areas in, so we'll look at your reference photograph. So that's coming up there. So that comes up. So this is the bottom part of so I'm only light pressure and I'm just lining. So I'm going to take that line off. That will look a lot lighter. We take the line off from underneath. Okay, so that goes, so that's coming up from there. Okay. Then we've got it coming round here. It comes up and round there. And then up there. And that bit is the bottom bit, which comes up. And that comes up there like that. Okay. And then this is the top section. So that comes. Okay. And then joins up onto there. There we go. So I've got the lining marking. So I'm just now going to go over with this yellow very lightly. I'm just going over these lines very lightly, circular motions. Come down here, blend it into that bit there. Okay, it's a very small circular strokes. Doesn't have to be a very, very sharp pencil, but it's a bit of a point on it. Okay, comes down there. And then here we've also got some of this yellow that blends into there. So lift your pressure as you come there, but put your yellow in there. Okay. So we've mapped everything in. So we've got everything mapped in. So now we need to go in, add more saturation of colour, but also blend it a lot more and try and get it in the right, get all the detail in the right place. So before we do that, I'm just going to pick my dark sepia up because there is a little mark on the bird's beak here. There we go. And it's like a little, like a boat with a mast, a little boat with a mast there. Okay. The rest of the light markings we can take out with the ceramic blade once we've got the colours in. Right, so I'm thinking it's going to be best to start from this side and move that way. That's because I'm right-handed. So when I move that way, I'm not going to smudge anything. If you're left-handed, you'd want to be moving the other way. So I'm now looking at the top of the top part of this beak here. So if we look carefully, we've got some dark yellow sort of at the base here and in that bit there, but we need to lighten it off slightly there and maybe even a little touch of brown, Van Dyke brown, very light, or a grey, just there, just to give that curved effect there. Okay, so I'm going to actually sharpen this up a little bit now because I do need, I'm also going to be putting in some small detail. So I do want it quite sharp. So I'm going to use that colour. Then I think I'm going to use, have a look what colour we could use. So, not anything on there. So what's this one? The French grey. It's going to have a bluey effect. No, not that one. No, that's the blender. I'm going to use probably a little bit of the yeah, the olive green yellowish, just to put in these dark markings where the creases are. So I'm going to carefully look at this now. So I'm actually going to put in the little creases. So it comes around here. So it comes more or less from that top section, and it comes round and joins that there. Okay. So then I'm going to put in this darker yellow, which comes there at the bottom, and then it also comes in there. And then this top section here stays pretty light. And then this, the olive green yellowish, I'm just going to actually put a little bit down there where that line is. Okay. And then, so that's quite dark there, dark yellow. And it's dark yellow on this side. So small circular motions. And this bit comes in there. Let me get rid of these marks on there. As I say, I put too much detail on, but as I say, we can keep taking it off. So I'm just going to remove the lines from the back of this beak. If I put them on the back, if I remember. So let's just get rid of, that's it, some of the lines from the back. Because we've drawn over what we want. So, and then if I look at the front, we have got some in the wrong place at the front. So in the front, that's in the wrong place there. Yeah, take that one out. And then we should have one zip. So we should have one coming over. And it's just slightly darker, and it just comes over to where this top part of the thing comes there. Okay. And then I'm just going to lift a bit of the colour out here at the top. It should be more light. There we go. A little bit lighter up at the top end here. That's better. And then we've got the darker yellow at the bottom here. And just inside there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little bit of this, the olive green yellowish, just very lightly in here, just to show a bit of the shadow where it goes, where the crease turns in. And that will look better once it's blended. Okay. So now we're coming up with this bright yellow here. Let me remove that line now. We don't need that there as such. Remove these yellows around here because they're going to be light anyway. That's it. Okay. So the very top of that is going to be the olive brown 10%. So if I just blend that there, we've got all the colours that we need there. So we'll blend them slightly in a bit. Okay. So that darker colour comes down here, and then it sort of fades slightly. As it comes into there. Okay, so just pull it back a little bit. And then here it's dark, and then we've got this lighter section here. So that bit there is a lot darker. Okay. And we've got some of the darker yellow just there. And here. Okay. Then I'm going to go back with this olive brown 10%. Blend that over there. It goes up here, and then also it's around the edge of this nostril just there. And then we've also got it here. So I'm just going over, I'm just putting another layer on there, smoothing it out. And also I'm just going to blend that out with it. So I'm just going over and blending out. And I'm just going to make sure I've got all of that line up on that side. There we go. Also, I just want to lighten it off slightly. So I'm just gently going over probably put the Van Dyke brown was probably a bit too dark. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to go back with this yellow. There we go. And now I've taken off some of that line. It doesn't look as dark. Okay. So put this back. Okay, you shouldn't have to go back on your back for a while now. Some people work with drafting film where they don't go onto the back. That's fine. I like to go in sometimes to saturate some of these colours up. So if I wanted that black looking darker, like I say, I could go over it with that. So now we've got this beak looking a little bit more presentable. Go back to these blue parts. So again, I'm just going over the lighter areas here. And if you look right around the edge of this white section here, as we're going into the very light bit, we have got some yellow. So just put a little bit of just very tiny marks and release the pressure there. Okay, I didn't take that mark off. So let me just take one more mark off. As I say, I've put too many marks on this bird, but anyway, it's there. So I'm just removing that now, and I can remove, just to be safe, so we don't have to go back over. I'm just taking out all of the pencil marks now from the back of this beak. And the reason is because I say we're working with some light colours. And with light colours, I mean, the darker colours get covered up. The lines get covered up with the pencil, but the light colours can show through. So I just want to make sure. I mean, another way you can do this is just to have your tracing under this paper all the time, because then you won't have any marks. But it's just sometimes it can get you a little bit confused when you've got lines showing and you're not quite sure where you're going. There we go. So that looks a lot better now. I can see exactly where I'm going with all of these shapes there now. Okay. Looking a bit ugly, but as I say, we'll soon have it looking as smooth, because the beak it is fairly smooth, but it's like an emery, and it does have a lot of scratches on it. But to get that there to that point, we do need to build up some more of these colours. Okay, so I'm coming across now to this beak area. And what I'm looking at is, so right next to that, we have got, I'm just going to take out a little bit of, let me just extend my rubber and take out this little bit here of lighter area and just add some of the white in, just there. Okay. There we go. And then again, I'm just going to go over with the black. Around there. And then if we look on the inside, we've got the dark yellow and run over the dark areas with it as well. And then just coming in and leaving this small area here for a lighter colour. And that's just to give it a 3D effect. So a bit of white in there if we want. Okay, and then this area here we can just go over with a bit of the white. Okay. There we go. So let's start and look at this top of this beak now. So we've got, it comes down here and it's quite light. So I'm just putting a line of white there for now. And we've got this white area here. You won't see it much, but it's there. And when we come to do some scraping out, we'll know exactly where we're going. Okay. So a little bit lighter just by doing some of that. So I'm just gently, and then that comes up to a lighter area there. And then this is the very light area just here that blends in. Okay, and then we've got a little bit of that light area at the top of this yellow and the white and the blue. So if you have put too much on or you've put too much pressure on, that's fine. Just use your little Tombow rubber and that will get most of it off. Right, so now let's try and get these blues on. So I'm starting with the lighter blue. And we've got the lighter blue here. Okay. And it comes around there, so make sure a nice tidy edge there. And then also we've got a little bit of the lighter blue just there. Very light pressure, because it's, if you look at it, it's very light just up here. And then it sort of comes around here. There we go. And then it starts to go into that grayer area. And we've got the light blue there. And we've got this light blue area just here. Okay. We've got the light blue area just here. It's quite standoutish there. I'm just going to pull a little bit of the light blue up there and down into here. Now then, I'm going to use the Intradent and then the Indigo. So back down here, I'm going to use the Intradent blue again, just another layer. Small circular strokes. Lift the pressure and blend it into that lighter blue area. Go over it slightly, but it wants to be darker on the, obviously on this darker side, and then the center just wants to be, doesn't want to be as light as what it is now, but by releasing your pressure and varying the pressure and that color over a light blue, you can see it gives you that slightly different tonal value there. That comes up there. It's right up there, and then we've got this line of where the beak sort of joins that bit there, and it's really dark. Okay. So just releasing the pressure as I'm coming here, but putting in all the marks that I can see. It's quite dark here, and then it lightens off a bit. And then we've got this darker area here again as we come round. There we go. Okay. So then here we've got, still only using lightish pressure, and then as I hit the very light blue again, pull back on the pressure. Okay. Now then, I've got the indigo, so I'm going right where it really is dark, and I'm putting in the indigo blue. It's right on this edge here. If you look, it's got some markings that come in. So I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on here. falls off there where that white bit is, and then right on the base, if you look, it sort of comes around really dark there. Pull your pressure off there. And then we've got this really darker area here again. It's not quite as dark, so not quite as much pressure. Just watch the amount of pressure that you put on, because that's how you get these effects, by putting on the different pressures. Okay, so you can always practice them on a piece of paper before you actually start. So this is building up quite nicely now. So wanting some more Indothrone blue there, very light pressure, just to, because that's a little bit too bright, that area. So we'll just darken that off a little bit. Okay, and then be careful as we come up here, because it does change into this beautiful cobalt blue. And if you look, it does sort of curve the beak. So I'm actually using a linear, trying to use a linear stroke now to sort of pull in. There we go. The Indothrone blue is still quite dark here. Okay. And we've got the very light blue here. And it's on this very edge. I'm coming up now with this blue here, so it sort of comes, it doesn't quite touch. We've got this very light blue on the edge. This is where you've got to be careful to keep the shape of the beak. So let me just move some of these bits out of my way. Okay, so I'm just going to move this across here. And then from here, this is the shape of the beak. Okay. And it comes around here. So this is all light blue. I'm trying to keep so we can see the shape of the beak. And then this colour, if you look, I'm curving it. Look, it curves around. I'm not quite going to the end, so I'm leaving some of that light blue there. Okay, and then that blends into there. And then as we come up here, this band of colour carries on up here. It's more linear up here, so let's just get that in there. Okay. And then we've got the real light blue there, which I could put on top. I could try and put a little bit of the white as well, just to, if it doesn't work, we can always take it out with an eraser later. Okay, so the Indothrone blue then is sort of here. And it's darker on the right-hand side as you're working and you come down than it is on the left. So release your pressure as you pull it further down here. And if you look, the strokes are, the colour, the block of colour isn't sort of uniform, because it looks like it's got some lines in it. Okay, and then we just gently around there and touch that bit there. And then we've got some very dark. So again, back into the circular motion here. And that sort of comes up there. Okay. There we go. And then we've got these grey bits that sort of come up that way. Put some grey on those in a minute, and then another little one there. And we seem to have this white or light coloured bits there, and then same here, it's sort of some linear darker strokes and then some light strokes. So now I'm going to pick up the Payne's grey, and the greyer areas which are around here. I'm just going to right on this very edge, and then round here they're a little bit more, then release the pressure and glaze over all of this here. And then we've got some grey areas here. So this is where it's more of a Payne's grey than a blue. Okay. And then the same goes here. And then in between that, they sort of come, if you look, they always follow the direction that the lines are going in, or the direction of form. Okay. So we're starting to get the colours in there now a bit more. I've got my dark indigo blue now, which I'm going to put where I can see a couple of the dark sections there. And that comes into here, which is a dark indigo. There, releasing the pressure as we come up, but here it's really dark. And then release the pressure there. And then down here we've got this darker area, very quite as dark when it touches there. And then this is very, very dark. And then here as well. So now I'm just going to add the black. So here we do have some black, so very dark on this edge. And into that, where it cuts into that beak there. And then we've got the line, which is quite dark there. Goes up. And then into there. So that's very dark just there, but then fading it. And then here's very dark as well. Release the pressure slightly. Okay, and then we've got a little bit of the extra dark just here and there, everywhere. Down here, right in this bottom base is very dark. And so is it here. Okay, and then very lightly with the infrared blue, just glaze over this bit again. Coming up to this very light area and then up there. Okay. So you can see we've got some slightly different shades there. If you look on the beak, okay. Then the cobalt blue again. The nice rich blue, which sort of comes down here. A really nice rich blue there. Some of that can go in there as well. And then the Payne's grey, which I can see on this blue here. And some of it round here. And then also we've got some of it here. some bits here as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the blender, which is the colourless blender, which I mentioned yesterday. And then I'm just gently, so if you've got a light area, go from your light area into your darker area, like that. And just gently, the circular motions, and you'll find that it'll blend the colours, soften them up a little bit so they look a lot more blended. Okay. Down there, nicely does it. Softly blending these colours in. There, so they're nicely blended. So before we do the ceramic blade, the other thing you've got to watch for is little bits of pencil getting underneath your drafting film, because then whatever surface it's on, because this is very fine, you'll find that when you go over it, it feels a bit gritty. So always, like here, look, there's bits of. So what I do is every couple of, every few minutes, I just sort of take that off, give it a good, and again over there. I'm now just going to quickly check that all the lines on the back have gone. Try and make sure all those lines have disappeared. Then also make sure you don't leave any of the pencil shavings underneath, because it will cause problems. So again, give it a really good brush off. There we go. So it's a nice smooth. Run your fingers over it. Pop that back. There we go. Pop it on there. Okie dokie. So now I'm going to get the ceramic blade. Okay, make sure it's nice and clean. And then I'm going to have a look. Just notice we need a bit of Payne's grey. Just a soft, gentle line of it there. That's it. So now, if we look at the top here, we've got all these like little ziggy, like scratches on the beak. And we've got one up here, that's sort of the line that comes down. Get the thing to go in the right direction. Like that. And then at the top. And then we have some that sort of come in. But this doesn't cut the paper, it just removes the graphite. And then if you follow, you have to put all of these lines in, but if you just follow it and do it in the direction of form as well, which means in the, the direction in which the lines lie, then you should get quite a bit of this detail. So there's quite a bit of a chunk out of its beak there. So get that out. There we go. And then we've got quite a bit there. And then we've got some white lines at the bottom, just randomly coming out of there. We also have a couple of random ones going down that way. We've got that light bit there. We've got a light area all the way down the side of this beak. Keep wiping your blade every now and then. Okay. Here, and just make that look a bit more. Oops. A bit more. There we go. So now I'm just gonna get my blenderless, my colourless blender again. I'm just gonna sharpen up some of these areas here. Now, I've noticed trying to pull out some of these lighter bits, we've obviously got to darken up some of this area here. So I'm going to use the Interdon blue here. So if you sort of put this colour near where you've pulled bits of light area out, the contrast's a little bit better, and therefore you can see where the areas that you've pulled out stand out a little bit more. Okay, and then we've got one coming around here. And we've got this blue area here. And then where we've got this very white area, we've got some darker colour. And it's now, I'm going to switch to the Payne's grey, because it's more of a Payne's grey. Just fill in, and it comes around that area there. And then that bit goes more that way. And then we've got this smaller area here. And we've got some of this grey around here as well. Okay. Then I need to show we've got, so I want to use the dark sepia for this. We've got these, some of these are a bit darker, these lines. I'll put some of those in. This area here is a bit, so with the Interdon blue on top. And that comes down to where this is here. Okay. Some more of these darker areas in between the light where I've taken them out. And then we've actually got some Payne's grey around here as well. Smooth that out a little bit. And then I'm actually going to come in with the black again. There we go. And then right in here where we've got the darkest bit. Now, like I said, because I want to make that look stand out a little bit more, what I'm going to do, what I would do is turn this over, turn it back over, and you know where the black areas are going to be, just here. And then what you do is, so it's the underneath this bottom bit where it's really dark. And then sections across here. It's not a straight line, it's just building it up there. And then we've got quite a bit of dark on this tip. And then some on there. And then also we can just put a little bit light pressure this time though there. Then on that top section, just very light pressure. Okay, so then when you turn it back over, it does look a lot more saturated there. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the craft knife again and just make sure that we've got markings on there that we need. On there. And we've got some white area here, beak. They can actually just pull a line of white out, but just if you curve your lines in a little bit, you will get that more of a jagged look. Right. Okay. And then there's that white area just there. Here. On the inside. Just pull it. And you've got your white line, which differentiates that bit. Okie dokie, so that now is starting to look a lot better. And like I said, what we can do is later on in the tutorial, when we've got some other sections done, we can actually come back in and add some more colour. I'm just making these little marks stand out a little bit more. There we go. Down to there, and there we go. You have quite a sort of a later line that comes all the way down there. Go. And then just to finish off, I'm just going to double check round the outline, make sure everything's blended nicely. Okay, even over the areas what we've taken out with we can soften those in a little bit. Okay. So I'm just going to have a quick look here. So across this area here, we can pull out. So I'm not using the point of the blade. I'm using quite a flat piece of the blade. So that piece there. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going to pull out because there is a sort of a lighter area on the top of that bill there. Okay, and same here, that way. Just take out some, just to create a highlight, basically. And then with the yellow sharp point, we can then just, if we go over the middle line where it marks, go over both sides there, that gives you the darker side there, and then the darker side on the top. Then this is really dark here. And then dark on the bottom here, and then just release the pressure. And then blend it with the colourless blending tool. Where have I put that? Here somewhere. There we go. So if we blend them over, there we go. And blend that corner piece there. I think I've taken that line out there too. That's it. Just pull that across so we can see. And then darker yellow on the inside of that there. That's it. There. Because then that needs to be, that goes a little bit closer up there, and it comes down there. And then we've got this darker, just as it goes there. And then contrast that just on the outside of that line as it comes around, it's quite light. So it's easier just to pull some colour out rather than try and put the colour and then loosen it off. So it's easier just to pull the colour out there. That's it. Just blend it in a little bit more there. Okay. Perfect. There we go. So we can now see how that blends in a lot better there. Get rid of that mark. That's where the yellow then comes down and back in. There we go. So now we've got his eye in place and we've got his beak in place. Now we can go back and tidy this up a little bit more later on if we want to, but we've got the majority of it in. And as you can see, we've got several different blues in there and greys. And if you look at it with a magnifying glass, you can see how we've blended most of it in. So I'm just gonna, where's the black? That there, and then we've got the olive greenish yellow there, just on that inside, and then leave that lighter section just there, which we could, if it doesn't look light enough, we can just pull it out with a bit of, there we go. There we go. So it does stand out there. So that's the nostril, and then we've got the bill in. Okay, so you can see now. So it's basically what you have to remember to do is it's squinting at the picture or putting a Gaussian blur on it and looking for shapes and tones of colour, rather than you know, anything else. But like here, this yellow is a slightly cooler yellow over here. And that's more of a warmer yellow. We've got, that's the white. I've got that coming out there, and then we've got a bit more of a white colour. So again, if it's very narrow areas, then it might be easier to pull that lighter colour out rather than try and release the pressure around an area. And then we've got this lighter area here. I'm just going to pull out there. Okay, and then we've got this bit of lighter area. So we've got some highlight here as well. And then we've got a bit of a highlight here. And that was right up there. So, and then just use the brush to finish off. There we go. And then, yeah, we've got this darker area of yellow just here. And then a bit of yellow there, and that's it. Okay, so that's the bill done. So we've got the beak done and we've got the eye done. Okay, so now we're starting to look a little bit menacing. So the next video is about feathers. And putting on and looking at the directions. So if we look before we finish up here, if you look, we've got feathers going in, some coming out of this direction here. We've got them coming around there. We've got some coming over this way. We've got this eyelid at the top, and then we've got some feathers that come down around the back. They do get a little bit longer around the back, and then up there, we've got this dark area where this top bit falls over the underneath. So we've got this shadow forming there. Then we've got feathers going that way. Then we have this clump here that come down, and then we've got some little ones there. Feathers there, and then feathers there, and then we've got the darker feathers. So the next video is going to be all about feathers. Okay, so I'm going to get this one uploaded, and then we'll start on the last video for the feathers. I hope you're enjoying it. If I'm talking too much, I do apologize. I just don't want you to miss any of the sort of tricks and tips that I can offer you. But I will try and cut back on my talking and more using the pencil. All right, thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, thank you. I'll find my mouse and shut this down. Oops. All over the place today. Okay.